So this is a video by Haitaini and Hamiko. I'm sure you guys all know Hamiko, one of the best commentators in Japan right now. Haitaini needs no introduction. And in this video, they're talking about how to save your time in practice mode. What should you prioritize when you go into training, when you go into practice? And I think it's a great topic because a question that I get from a lot of people is, what should I practice in training mode? How can I grind better? How can I save time? How can I not waste time when I get into training mode? Like a lot of people say, I only have 1 hour or maybe an hour and a half to play a day. How can I balance my training mode time with like my ranked or like battle hub time? And how can I become more efficient in training mode? And this video talks about that. And what Hamiko and Haitani did, they made a training mode tier list of what you should practice the most, especially if you haven't hit mastery yet. So I'm going to skip the intro and let's look at their tier list. So here's their tier list. They have S tier all the way to D tier. And they have all the different categories on the bottom. Real quick, I'm going to run you through what the categories are. It's combos, set play or oki. So that's going to be after you knock down your opponent. Whiff punishment, anti-airs, neutral drive rush cancel, so off of normals, like crouching medium kick drive rush, crouching medium punch drive rush, stuff like that. Get up options, so either getting up in place or back recovery. Character matchup strategies, stopping neutral drive rush. So you guys know, for example, like round start Juri, she does neutral drive rush. Can you stuff it with a crouching medium punch on reaction? Perfect parry timing, drive gauge meter management, super art meter management, block punishment. So for moves that are really minus on block, character mastery for your character. So these are the categories they break it up into. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through this tier list. I'll translate the most important points. And then after, I'm going to make my tier list because I don't 100% agree with everything in this. I mean, it's just opinions. Everyone has different opinions. And then we're going to kind of compare. And if you guys have any comments or anything you want to add to this, leave your replies in the comments. I want to see what you guys think are the best things to practice in practice mode according to this S tier to D tier list. So anyways, let's get into it. I would put combo practice in A tier. I can also see it in S tier. The only reason why I don't put combos in S tier is because I think people over practice combos and they're not really good at time management. So they'll end up practicing combos way too long and they'll neglect the other aspects and they'll kind of just skip over some stuff. So for me, I would put combos in A tier, but if you have good time management and you know how to like practice effectively, then I put it in S tier. But let's see where Haitani puts it. So Haitani puts it in S tier. I'm gonna save you some time. I'll tell you why. The reason why Haitani puts it in S tier is because people who can do high damage combos and people who can't do high damage combos, there's gonna be a gap in your ranked experience. So let's say you're trying to get to master and you're fighting against a Ken player, and the Ken player does like a random DP. And your punish, because you haven't practiced combos, is a throw. In order to beat a Ken player who's doing lots of shoryukens, you're going to have to throw him like 9 or 10 times. But if you can do one high damage combo, you only have to beat this character. Like you only have to do like 2 or 3 interactions if you have lots of bar, because you can do so much damage, right? Let me switch to a character I know. Okay, that wasn't even max damage, but if you're able to land this combo, instead of getting 2,000 damage for a throw, you're getting 60. So this is 60%. So really, you only have to hit them 1 or 2 more times to actually beat that character. So if your damage output is lower than your opponent's damage output, you're going to need more interactions to win. So the less interactions you need, the less times you have to open up your opponent, the less times you're going to need to land a hit, which means learning combos, according to Haitani and me, is very important. Yeah, so Haitani says it takes a little bit of time to lab out your max punish, like your best high damage combos in training mode, but it's a good use of your time. So he thinks it's S tier. All right, let's go next. All right. So let's go into Oki. Oki's the next one. Oki or set play.
じゃあ次置き攻めですね。これも S ですかね。
S。Haitani puts it in
やっ
S.
ぱり技を当てた後に一方的に強い状況を作る。
So he's saying it's really important to know how to continue your pressure after you knock your opponent down and to do offense that's completely in your favor. Create a situation that's completely good for you and then mix your opponent when you knock them down. I think learning combos that end really well and going into something else is fantastic. Being able to set up Oki after your main B&Bs and your knockdown is super strong in this game, especially in a game in Street Fighter 6 where putting your opponent into the corner leads into things like throw loops for most of the good characters in this game. Learning Oki is super important. So if you haven't labbed your set play after the knockdowns of your B&Bs yet, definitely put that in training mode. Okay, next we got whiff punishment. So
じゃあ次は、差し返しですね。
はい。相手が技を空振りしたときに
let's see where Haitani and Hamiko put it.
好きになるガードできるので、
これはまあ
差し返し
D ですかね。
D. Alright, so Haitani and Hamiko put it in D for pre-master players. Let's find out why.
D かな。
そんなにまあ考えなくていいことですよね。
そうですね。やっぱ難しいですね。
So like Hamiko says, yeah, you don't have to think about it too much before pre-master. And Haitani says, yeah, it's hard. Whiff punishment in this game before pre-masters is hard.
やっぱりその相手の技の空振りにこっちの技を当てるってテクニックなんですけど、本当に一瞬の隙しかないんですよ。
He's like, there's only like a tiny fraction of a second that you're going to be able to see the move whiff and react with the appropriate button from your end. And I think people who are pre-master don't have enough of their own character mastery to know which one of their buttons is the best to whiff punish an opponent, and it can be really tricky. So according to Hamiko and Haitani and even me, I agree that practicing whiff punishment if you're a pre-master player isn't the best use of your time. So I think I'm pretty good with D. Let's see if he says anything else interesting.
まず間合い管理がすごい大事。ちょっとゲームの方に行きますけど、それで中攻撃空振りのです。はい。これにこう入れるんですけど。
Yeah, he's like, you gotta have good footsies to do this, and most people don't have the footsies necessary to do that. So he says a couple of other things, but let's just keep on going. I think it's just too hard for pre-master players. If you can do it, fantastic, but you don't have to pull your hair out practicing this in training mode. Not the best use of your time. So next we got anti-airs. So for me, for pre-master, I'm going to put anti-airs at A. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put anti-air into 2 tiers. If you play a character with a really goated anti-air, like a Shoryuken, anybody with a Shoryuken, then anti-airs should be S. Because being able to anti your opponent is going to really shut down a lot of players. Because most people in like Platinum, Diamond, even Gold, they jump so much. So if you can stop that aspect of their gameplay, you're going to win a lot. But the reason why I also put into A tier is because not every character has really good, really easy access anti-airs. So if you don't have a Shoryuken, like for example, let's say you're a Marissa player, her anti-airs are pretty rough. So focusing on anti-air practice is something that's not probably going to help you too much and is a little bit too difficult with the character that you're playing. I think you can still win with crappy anti-airs. I don't think you need to anti-air to win. Your win rate might not be incredibly high, but you can still win without being able to anti-air.
対空ですね。
対空。
So their answer is
結構優先度高めなんですけど、
はいはいはい。
でも別に対空でできなくても勝てるじゃないですか。
So Haitani says, to him personally, it's pretty high, but he says if you can't anti-air, you can still win.
難しいんですよ。
確かに。
He says it's hard, so he puts it into B
どう
tier.
思います？対空。
これは本当に難しくて。
And Hamiko says, yeah, this is really hard to
お
place.
互いのキャラによって変わってしまったりとかっていう。
And then he says basically what I said. He says it depends on your character. Some characters have easy anti-airs, like some characters have good anti-air normals, good anti-air specials, but some don't.
難しさがありますよね。おい、対空してんのに相手のその技によって落ちるあったりするんですか。まあまあまあ。とかもあるし。
So he's like, yeah, some characters you can do your anti-air normal, like someone like Marissa crouching hard punch, right? So he goes, sometimes you'll do your anti-air, but it still doesn't actually hit your opponent. It doesn't stop their jump. So it makes it difficult to practice this effectively depending on your character. And then also, like, you don't get a ton of damage from anti-airs in this game. And I'm sure you guys have fought it. You ever fought that player, you anti-air them, but they keep on jumping even if you anti-air? It's because if they land that jump-in combo, the damage they get for hitting you is way higher than the damage you get for landing an anti-air. So I think that's why they put it in B. Let's go to the next one. Neutral drive rush practice. Yeah, for me, I'm going to go B or C. I think this is going to depend on your character. If you have a goated drive rush, like if you're Jury, DJ, M. Bison, I'd put it in B for pre-master. You can win without it. Great if you can do it. If you don't have a goated neutral drive rush, C or D for me.
かなりこのゲームにおいて重要なテクニックですね。まずその生ラッシュ自体が
Let's find out why.
置き攻めで使うことが多いんですよ。
ああ、なるほどなるほど。
はい、
確かに確かに。
まあ、なのでまず例えばこう投げた後に、
Alright, so he says it's really important because it's something that you can just set up your set play. So it's connected. So doing neutral drive rush, they're saying it's connected to your Oki. So you know what? After seeing this, I'm going to change my placement. I'm going to put it into A tier if you have a good drive rush and if it's off of knockdown. But if you're just practicing neutral drive rush like in footsies, then I'm going to stick with my original like B or C tier placement.
ラッシュでこう攻めていけるっていう、一気にその有利フレームを取る。
Yeah, also he says if you do it from neutral drive rush, you can take plus frames just from that.
そして
はい。次がキャンセルラッシュですね。
キャンセルラッシュ。
これは B ぐらいなのかな。
おー、same as Haitaini.
どうですかね、これも。
He says
これ
B
は
tier.
本当に難しいところですね。
難しいですね。
こちらもまた操作が難しいことと。
Yeah, so Haitaini says what I said. Your drive gauge meter management, you need to be able to manage your drive gauge meter management when you're doing this. And a lot of people are going to burn themselves out. He didn't say that part. I added at the end, but he says, yeah, it requires you to manage your meter. So it's hard to apply properly in a match. Of course, if you can do it, it's fantastic. But for more intermediate players, it's too dangerous. So he puts it into the B tier category.
非常に多いですから。
ただキャンセルラッシュなしでマスターに行くって俺きついと思う。
あ、それは
He goes, but he adds a little thing to this. He goes, getting to master without ever using drive rush cancel is like really hard. He goes, you might not be able to get to master if you never do it. It's a key aspect of the game.
そうですね。確かに。
だからって考えるとやっぱり需要高いなって思うんですよ。体育より多分需要高いかな個人的には。
He goes, he thinks it's more, if you're going to practice anti-air or drive rush cancel options, he thinks it's more important than being able to anti-air.
コードこれできないキャラもいるんですけど、シュガシラッシュは。まあ多くのキャラがこのシャミチラッシュから投げと対局に逆に行くっていうのがやっぱり。
Yeah, so he's talking about like being able to do crouching medium kick drive rush into the throw or attack mix up. So he's basically just saying what I'm saying. If you have a crouching medium kick drive rush, it's super, super important to learn it. But if you don't, not as important. You don't have to practice it a ton, but you still have to practice it to some degree to get to master. So that's why he puts it into B tier. All right, let's move on from this. I think we can all agree on that. All right, next we have get up options. So this one might be a little bit weird for you guys just to think of it that way. Let me show you what he means by get up options. Get up options means you get knocked down. It's this one, recovery. Recover in place or recover backwards. So let's say, you know, you're the Ken player. You get knocked down. Should you get up in place like this? Should you get up in place or should you recover backwards? That practice. Right now, I'm going to tell you, if you're like pre-master, in my opinion, I think you should always default to recover backwards. I think pre-master, just always recover backwards. You don't have to practice. You literally just mash like 2 buttons when you get knocked down, and then you do it. The reason why I think if you're pre-master, you should always just recover backwards is because you don't want this. So Cammy does a throw, keeps her close, and then she goes for this. If you wake up with like a crouching light punch, yeah, if you wake up with a light punch, Cammy can still throw you. This is like mid-screen throw loops because you're not recovering backwards. But if you do recover backwards, the opponent can't get a meaty throw. So they put this in
受け身。
受け身。
受け身。これ C ぐらいかな。
C.
できた方がいいですけど、できなくても正直マスターになれます。
Yeah, he's like, if you can choose the right times to get up in place or recover backwards, that'd be great. But he goes, even if you can't, you can totally get into master. I don't think it's that important. C tier. Let's keep going. Next, we have character matchup knowledge.
キャラ対策ですね。
キャラ対策。
まあちょっとこれ言葉が広いんでね、難しいんですけど。
First thing Haitaini says is this is like this word like character matchups. He goes, this covers such a wide breadth of things that it's difficult to really place it because it can have so many different meanings.
低めなのは間違いない。まあこの C ぐらいなのかな。
He puts it in C.
どうですか？強い技の対策みたいなのはやっぱり。
Okay, so Haitaini says there are so many difficult things to learn when it comes to matchup knowledge. He goes, but learning which of your opponent's moves are obviously strong and how you should try to deal with them is very important. But things other than that, not so important.
していかないとやっぱりマスターにはなれないと自分は思う。
Yeah, he says you can't get into master if you don't know how to counter or how to deal with each character's like clearly strong move. You have to practice against that.
に対して、
Yeah, stuff like Dragon Lash. What should you do against hard Dragon Lash?
落とせるよねとか。
You know, you can beat it with Standing Light Punch or you can parry it.
まあそういうちょっとした水準が強い。
He's like, yeah, learning those things is really important. You should practice that for sure.
強い技に対するまあ知識っていうのはやっぱりあった方がいい。
Okay, let's go to the next one. We've got, what's up next? Stopping neutral drive rush practice.
はい、次行きましょう。はい、ラッシュ止め。こちらは生ラッシュに対する対抗。
So raw neutral drive rush.
ラッシュ。
They do neutral drive rush, and you try to stop it with like crouching medium punch.
はい。これは D ですね。
D.
これはちょっと難しすぎる。
I agree with that.
こ
D
れ
tier.
は難しい。
これは難しい。これは
He goes, yeah, it's way too hard.
まあこういうね、ラッシュ相手のラッシュを見てから代表して リスクを負わせるってテクニッ
Yeah,
ク
and he says one more interesting thing here.
のまあその上級者になるとすごい重要なテクニックなんですよ。
He goes, once you become a high level player, it's a really important thing to practice being able to stop neutral drive rush, but
ただめちゃくちゃ難しいんですよね。
it's really
難し
hard,
いですねこれは。
incredibly
最
hard.
初ちょっと似てて、まず反応がすごい必要
はいはいはい。
なのと、狙ってる時に他のことができなくなっちゃう。
So he makes two important points. He goes, it's being able to stop neutral drive rush is like being able to whiff punish on reaction. First of all, you need to have good reactions. If you don't have good reactions, you can't stop neutral drive rush. And then the second thing, which I think is the most important point, is when you focus on looking for neutral drive rush and trying to stuff it, you're not able to do other things. So I know you guys said this, it's a bit of a meme in Street Fighter, mental stack, right? When you're looking to stop neutral drive rush, because it's such a specific thing to look for, your other aspects are going to kind of fail on you. Stuff like anti-airs, being able to whiff punish normal moves, right? Like being able to stop Ken from doing Dragon Lash. You're only looking for one thing and you get some tunnel vision. So that's why Haitaini puts this into D tier. You need to have amazing reactions and your defense and mental stack is going to take a hit in other areas when you're looking to stop neutral drive rush. Great if you can do it, but if you're a pre-master player, you don't need to spend that much time practicing this. Let's keep on going. Let's go to the next one. Perfect parry practice.
そして、
はい。ジャストパリー。
All
これ
right.
めちゃくちゃ難しいです。
He goes, perfect parry is also super hard.
高めなんですよ。
あ
But he goes, for him, it's like surprisingly, he ranks it surprisingly high, Haitaini says.
というのは、このゲームジャストパリーしないときつい技が多すぎるんですよ。
Yeah, he goes, in this game, in Street Fighter 6, if you can't do perfect parry against certain moves, it's really hard to beat those moves. Like the Honda headbutts, like the Ken Dragon Lashes.
まあ前提で技がまあ作られているよねと。
のと、ジャストパリーは、この D の2つと違って、
はい
狙うことのリスクがあんま高くないと思ってます。
そうですね。
はい
はい。
Unlike trying to do whiff punishment and trying to do stopping neutral drive rush, there's very little risk in attempting to go for a perfect parry against a move. So like we said, let's say Honda does headbutt, you see the headbutt come, you push perfect parry, you mess up the timing, you don't get the perfect parry timing, you just get a regular parry. There's really no risk there. You know, you just block it and you don't lose drive gauge. But if you mess up your whiff punishing or you mess up your neutral drive rush, you might get hit and you might die because of that, or you might take a ton of damage. So Haitani says, yeah, he's not talking about perfect parry when you wake up against throw loops. That's different. There's risk there. Hamako said there are a lot of moves in this game that have been made and they're balanced around the fact that perfect parry exists.
まあ B にあっていいかなと思います。
Yeah, and then lastly, Haitani says, doing perfect parry is related to character matchup knowledge. Again, the Hondas, the Blankas, Ken, stuff like that. So it's important. But yeah, B, and I can agree with that. All right, let's move on. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. Drive gauge management.
ドライブゲージの管理。
うん。
A じゃないかな、このゲーム。
A。
言
A.
い過ぎかな。
まあドライブゲージ。
So Hamako says, yeah, putting yourself into burnout is not good, and having bad meter management puts you into burnout.
うん。
した結果負けちゃう。
うん。
Yeah, so Haitani says a lot of people, they'll learn a lot of like Oki setups, they'll learn lots of combos that use drive gauge, and then what happens is they put themselves into burnout really quickly, and then in the end, they end up losing because they got put into burnout. You know, especially for more beginner players, they get hit by a drive impact in the corner, they die. So he says,
でもそれをやっぱりこう改善した方がいいよって話ですよ。そうす
he
る
goes, if that's happening to you, you have to kind of improve your drive gauge meter
と一気に
management.
勝率上がるんですよ。
うん。
And then if you're able to do that, you'll like suddenly become able to win faster. Like your win rate will go up really quickly if your drive meter management becomes better.
なのでやっぱこれめちゃくちゃ大事なんですよ。
So he goes, it's incredibly
や
important.
っぱり S。
It can go up. They talk about this for a long time, but I think it's pretty obvious in this game how important managing your drive meter is. So I'm going to leave it there. A tier. Could be an S in my books, but because it's something you can't actually actively practice in training mode and it's more a mental thing, I'm going to agree with this A tier placement. So next we got your super art meter management.
スーパーツですね。
S ゲ
SA
ージ管理か。
これは結構低いですね、個人的には。
He goes, oh, he thinks it's pretty low.
どんどん使っちゃっていい。使って
He goes,
さ
yeah,
えばいい
just use it.
上手くなってくると、この状況は使う、この状況は使わないっていう
He goes, yeah, when you get better, you can think of it, okay, I should use it in this situation, I shouldn't use it in this situation.
判断がすごい大事になってくるんですけど、まあマスターを目指すのであれば、
But if you're trying to get to
ゲ
master,
ージは余らせなければいいっていう。
you don't have to worry about it too much. Okay, so they put it in C.
最悪なのが3本フルマックスでたま。
So Haitani's opinion is a little bit different than Hamako's opinion. Haitani says, just use it before master. 1, 2, 3, whatever. Just use it. Do damage. bring your opponent's health down, just use it whenever you have it. Then Hamako says, just wait until you have level 3 and then use your level 3. So I agree more with Hamako here. I don't know, just different opinions, but I think for most players, just holding on to your level 3 is really good. So yeah, C tier, I agree with that. Let's move on. Next, we've got block punishment. So your opponent does something minus on block. What's your best punish? How can you punish your opponent for doing unsafe moves? For me, I'll tell you without any hesitation whatsoever, block punishment, whether it's Street Fighter or a game like Tekken, S+. I think knowing how to block stuff that's unsafe is going to help you beat bad players so fast. Don't let people get away with unsafe things. Learn your punishes. Punishment is huge for me. I'm going to put it S, no matter what rank you are. Whether you're a complete newbie to the game, iron, whatever, or if you're like 2000 MR, you should be practicing your block punishment. Let's see where they go.
次が、確定反撃ですね。
はい、確定反撃。
これちょっとね、言葉が広いんですけど、大きな技の反撃っていう意味で言うんだったら、A 以上。
He goes, if it's a big move, like a blocked Shoryuken or a blocked sweep, it's going to be higher than A for him.
A 以上だな。まあ A かな。
He puts it A.
これは本当に技によりますよね。
And Hamako says, yeah, this depends on the
この
move.
2つあってもいいぐらい。なんかその、
無敵技への反撃、まあ切り返しに使う技への反撃っていうのが A に入ってくる。
So they're breaking it up. They're saying if it's a big move, like we just mentioned, they're going to put it into A tier. But
けど、おそらくそれ以外の細かい技への反撃っていうの
small moves, like really... Okay, a good example would be Bison Scissor Kicks. Pre-master player, understanding that spacing where you can do a 5-frame move to punish it, and when you can't do a 5-frame move to punish it is going to be really hard. So spending a lot of time practicing something like punishing Bison Scissor Kicks at like max space distance for a pre-master player is going to be in a C tier category. But if it's something like punishing a whiffed blocked Shoryuken or like a blocked super art, he's going to put it in A. I would put this one in S. Definite S. I don't agree with A. I think this is way up there with combos, Oki, and punishment are like the 3 easiest things for anybody to practice to quickly become better and to do more damage. And I agree with the C tier placement here for small, like not easy to punish moves. Okay, they're just talking a little bit more in depth about this, but let's go to the last one. Your main character mastery. How well you understand your main character. Chat saying S tier? Yeah, I think if anybody says something other than S, I'd be really surprised. For me, knowing what your main character can do, and I mean, all of this kind of ties into this. I'm not quite sure why they put this as a category. I think it's a little bit obtuse, this category, because if you can't do this stuff, then you don't understand your main character. So yeah, for me, S tier. Let's see what they go with.
キャラ理解というのがありますね。
キャラ理解。
まあこれはまあ S ですね。
これは
S tier.
まあ
Right?
コンボとか置き攻め
I'm not going to translate what they say. I think everybody can kind of agree with this without hearing a huge explanation on it. Understanding your main character is definitely S tier practice stuff. You should be spending time doing that. But yeah, that's their tier list for practicing things in training mode. And then now that this is done, I'm going to make my own visual companion to this. I'm going to make my practice tier list just so it's easy to see. Let's do that right now. I'm going to make mine. But yeah, this is my practice tier list for people who are below master. This is what you should be spending the most time practicing in training mode if you haven't gotten to master yet. Let me know what you think. If you totally disagree, I'd love to hear your opinion. And that's it. And of course, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps support me as a content creator and lets me know that you enjoy content like this and want to see more of it in the future. And as always, thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.